All right, guys, tires just got delivered. These are a set of 21-inch tires. They're the Lexani brand. I've never had this brand before. Yeah, the LX20. I found these on simpletires.com. Shipped to my door, including tax. It was like $525. I thought this was a great deal. These are for 21-inch rims. I picked up a set of used rims for my Model Y, the 21-inch performance wheels. They didn't have tires on them. I need to put these on there to see. This is a little bit bigger size than it comes factory. It's a 275, 35, 21 in the front I'm going to run, and then I'm going to run a 295, 35, 21 in the rear. It's going to give a little more rim protection. It's not going to look as stretched. So I want to get these mounted up and just see how they look on those rims. All right, here are the rims I just picked up. So I got these off of a guy locally for 300 bucks, and there's no bends or cracks in them. They just have some curb rash on them. I don't think there's too many of these rims out there that don't have curb rash. I'm gonna get a set of rim protectors from EV Base that's gonna go around the edge. It's gonna hide most of that, so I don't think any of that's gonna be a problem. But you can see how this rim is an inch taller than this one. This is a 10.5 inch wide. This is the fronts are 9.5 inch wide. So on the performance Model Ys, they use a staggered wheel set, meaning the rears are wider than the front. So you can't rotate the tires front to back, back to front. So that's one reason why some people get rid of these performance wheels, is because they're a staggered wheel set. You can't rotate the tires. The tires maybe don't last as long. Here's one of the rears. This is a 10.5 inch wide. This one has a little more curb rash maybe than the other ones. Got a little ding out of it right there. I'm going to throw these tires on and just kind of see how they look. I ordered a set of new TPMS sensors. So all Teslas 2021 and newer all have the Bluetooth sensors. I ordered a set of these so that way I don't have to swap out sensors. I can just leave the sensors in these wheels and I can swap these on and off from the other car. So this one here is my 2024 Model Y long range. I did a video a little bit ago. I'll leave a link to it, but I put on these 20-inch wheels with these Nitto Nomad Grappler tires, which look awesome. I haven't put a lot of miles on it, so this isn't an update on like the range and efficiency of the tires. What I want to do in this video is I'm switching. This car over here is a 2023 Model Y long range, and it has the 20-inch induction wheels with the Goodyear Eagle F1 tires. And it's due for a rotation, but instead of rotating the tires, I want to take these off and put a set of 21-inch wheels that I got. So these wheels and tires have 5,000 miles on them. The car barely just hit 5,000 miles. I've had it, I got it at the end of October 2023 or 1st of May 2024, so 5,000 miles. I marked the wheels here where I want to put them back. So this says, what do you see down there? RD means rear driver. So I want to take the front passenger there. So I'm just going to do like an X pattern when I put these back on. I would recommend rotating these every 5,000 miles. It's not hard to do it yourself. I just take it to a tire store if you don't have the tools, the jack, the impact, or the torque wrench to do it yourself. But pretty straightforward to do yourself. So I want to rotate these, but I want to try out these new wheels and tires that I just picked up and kind of see how they look and see how they feel, see how the efficiency is on this new set. Okay, so here's the wheels here. I have the fronts here, the rears there. Now these are the Model Y performance wheels. My car is not a performance, it's a long range. These are the 21-inch wheels, so they're an inch taller than those ones. But what I'm doing on the tire size is I actually upsized the tires. So for the fronts, I'm doing a 275, 35, 21. That's normally the size that comes on the rears. Now I did it's a little bit wider, a little bit taller, but it's giving it a little more rim protection, and and it's going to just give a little more protection to the rim against potholes, and it's a little meatier tire. And then on the rear, what we're doing is doing the 295 3521. Now these are a Lexani LX20 tire. I've got the so what I want to do is I want to throw these on the, these are going on the rear, and then those are going to go on the front. And I'm curious to see how they look, because the performance cars come with a little bit lowered suspension, and so it looks a little better on those wheels and tires. So I want to see how those look with the long range suspension. See if it looks goofy, if it looks too high, if it looks good or not. We'll see how that works. Make sure there's no rubbing. I have heard from several people that this tire size I've chose is not going to rub, but you can see there is a little bit of room between this upper control arm mount, the ball joint, this knuckle, top of the knuckle, and the tire. There is some room there. Just want to make sure that it doesn't rub or anything. So let's get these taken off, get those new ones put on. All right, to get started, to get the wheel off, I just take the cap off, and I get a little pick tool that's got a little 90-degree on it, and you just, inside of the cap here, you can just push this inside there and you just pull it out. So it just pops out once you can pry inside of there. So we'll set that aside. Under the tire right here, you'll see a little hole. So get a set of these. This is the jack pad. So I'll show you approximately where that's at. So there's a hole where that goes in. It's like right in here. And then I can jack on that. There's only 4 points, one on each of the corners here. Now before I jack it up, what I want to do is I want to get the lug nuts broken loose first. This is a 21 millimeter socket. I've got a 1/2 inch little extension. This is probably just a 4 or 5 inch extension with a breaker bar. This is a 1/2 inch breaker bar. But what I want to do is I want to just crack the lug nuts loose. Now it's all right. So counterclockwise is how we get these broken loose. Okay, they're loose. Now I can get my jack under here. You want to make sure you put this pad on that puck. So now that the wheel's off the ground, you can do this all with just sockets, breaker bars, torque wrench. Just use like a ratchet like this to just spin these off. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this impact wrench. And I have to be careful using these. You don't want to over tighten these. Since the lug nuts are already loose, this is just to back it off, back them on. I'm using a low power setting so it doesn't damage the lug nuts. This is just for speed, just to zip these off. I have it on the low setting. You also want to make sure when you're putting these back on, if you're using an impact wrench, twist them on, thread them on as much as you can by hand before you use the impact wrench, because you do not want to cross thread. And come here, just lift the wheel off, and I'll go get the new one. All right, because these aren't the factory wheels that came with the car, I don't know if there's a tool that comes with them. You can just push the cap off, but when this is on the car, I just use this little hook style pick tool, and there's a little hole in the cap. You can just push this into there and then just pull it out like that. Here's where I'm getting my lug nuts started manually. So I got them all kind of hand tightened down. And now what I'll do is I'll just get my impact wrench. It's on low. It's probably only going to put 50 pounds or so on them, but just enough to tighten them down a little bit. I'm doing this in a star pattern. Before I set this on the ground, I just want to make sure my clearance is good. I'm just filling behind the knuckle here. Just want to make sure nothing's rubbing. Doesn't feel like it right there. The only concerning spot is right behind this kind of upright on the knuckle. There's still at least a finger's width, and that won't change when the suspension's down. So let's get this lowered down. We'll get the cap on. So you see right there, I didn't lower it all the way down to the ground. I just want to make sure that there's a little bit of weight on the wheel so that way it won't move. So with there being just a little bit of weight on the wheel, it's not going to move when I torque it down. I want to get my torque wrench out. 130 pounds. Make sure it's on tighten clockwise. Torque these down in a star pattern. All right, that's all torqued down. I'm gonna put my center cap back on. Release the jack all the way down now. And remove my lifting jack pad. So the wheels and tires are mounted on there. They're bolted onto the car. They look really good. This is a really cool design on the rims. This is the performance wheel. I don't know if you can tell this in the video or not, but this car does need a drop, like a 1.5 inch lowering on it, because you know there's a little bit of a fender gap that's really not there on the performance model because they have a little bit lower suspension. But I still think it looks really good. So this is the rim protector cover. This is from a company called EV Base. I've partnered with them for this video. I've tried these out on my 20-inch wheels, and they make these for the 21s. Now, these wheels are not black. It's like a really dark metallic gray. These rim protectors come in that same color. So what they do is they just snap on, and they cover up the lip of it, and then inside between the spokes here. And it's going to help protect the wheels against future curb rash and hide the curb rash that is already there. So instead of having to take these to a powder coating shop and pay $600 to refinish all 4 of them, for much less I can put on these EV Base rim protectors and it will do the job, I think, of covering up, making them look a lot better. So let me get these installed. They're really simple. I'm just lining up the valve stem cover one right there, and then they just snap between each spoke, they just snap in. Just like that, they install, and voila, no more curb rash. It kind of gives it a little more dimension as far as the look goes, and I kind of like that. I like the look of this that it provides. It's going to give protection, it provides a little bit different look to the wheel, which I think is good, and it's going to cover up all that old curb rash. So let's get all 4 of that on and see how they all turn out. It really hides all of that curb rash. You can tell they look a little bit different than the factory wheel because it does have these, you can see the kind of the grooves of this protector, but I like the look of it. There is one spot here where there's a little rash right here that's not covered up. You can get some touch-up paint for the same color. I'm going to find some of that. Yeah, I found it on Amazon. I can just touch that up. Well, those two 95 35s in the rear makes it look really good. Kind of brings the tire a little further out. Makes it a little more even with the rim. Yeah, like this one had a ton of curb rash on it, and now it's virtually gone. I can't see anything else on it now, so it's pretty much done away with the curb rash. I mean, it's just hiding it. But it's going to help cover up any curb rash and then prevent any more curb rash happening. These are a heavier wheel, and it's they're a bigger tire from the factory sizes. So this is going to lose some range. I'm curious to see what that's going to be like over, I'll kind of keep track of over the next month. Let's get in the car. Let's just take it for an initial drive and just see how the tires and wheels feel. A few things I want to do before I drive. I want to go into the service menu. I want to go to the tire reset. There's like a tire reset, kind of like a odometer. I can reset that. Now, I think every 5,000 or 6,000 miles, it will tell me that I need to rotate the tires. So that's now reset. Wheel and tire on the service page, and change it to the 21-inch turbine wheel. Now it's going to take into account the range. Like it should like calculate the range a little more closely to what it's going to be like. Okay, after those two things are done, now let's take it on a little test drive here. On the screen I can see right below the car visualization. If you just scroll over, you can see what your odometer is. So this car has 5,000 miles on it. It's 5,101 miles on it, and it keeps track of the kind of like your power usage for the current drive or since charge, or you can do a trip meter. My average watt hour per mile over the last 5,000 miles was 295 watt hours per mile, which not bad. That's not bad. This probably going to be a little higher than that. No wobble, no shaking. The tires mounted up really good, balanced really nice, so they feel good. A little more road noise. This is just the first, couple miles it's being driven. The tires are brand new, so after a couple hundred miles, they'll kind of wear in. They'll kind of settle into where they're supposed to be, and then I'll kind of update you on the road noise. There's now more tire on the road, so it's got wider tires than it had before. So just more contact surface with the ground is going to cause more noise naturally. So I don't know if they're any more noisier than the Goodyears as far as if we had the same exact size. Reset trip A. So that way I'll kind of be able to keep track. Trip B is going to be the first 5,000 miles on the 20-inch induction wheels with the Goodyear tires. And then Trip A will be my 21s with these tires, and just kind of see how it tracks. Like, my wife generally drives this car. You do have to be careful, guys. Driving with these low-profile tires and rims, like you can curb them very easily. It's especially easy like going through drive-throughs. You're going to the drive-through, you're going pulling up to the bank ATM. There's just where you're in a narrow spot and you've got to maneuver. It's just easy to do. This car is small and nimble, so it is easy to maneuver this car. This isn't like a big full-size truck that's harder to maneuver and things. It is a very nimble and easily maneuverable car, but you do have to be aware. If you're just always aware, you can avoid curbing the rims. And my wife, over the last couple of years, she's done a very good job. She's never curbed the rims ever, so she's very careful. So she'll have no problem with these, but you just have to be aware of that. You just have to be always conscious of like where the curbs are, in and out of parking lots. Just be careful. So those EV-based rim protectors I put on here, that's a great solution if you got curb rash on your 20. They have them for the 20-inch wheels. They have them for the 21-inch wheels. And so you can actually do some different colors too. That I've just done the rim color to kind of help it blend in. But like I said, it's going to be $600 if I wanted to take these rims to the powder coating shop by my house and have them refinish them. Yeah, it'd be like $600. So these are a lot less expensive than that, and it pretty much solved my curb rash eyesore issue, because it is an eyesore, because when you curb these wheels, they are aluminum, and then that silver aluminum shows up, and it's really unsightly on those wheels. So this is a great solution to that. Going the speed, I'm on the highway here, 65 miles an hour. I'm going 65, and this thing's tracking really well. There's no vibration. The tires don't sound any more noisy. It is a very windy day today, so I can hear some little more wind noise, but that's because of the wind. Let's just see what my watt hour per mile is right now. 401. It's going down now that I'm cruising. Doing harder accelerations, that affects your mileage. So I would expect, now this is just my theory, but I would expect to maybe lose 5% of range. That would be my expectation of this, which isn't bad. That's, it really only matters if you're doing like a really long road trip. I mean, this is rated for 310 miles of range. With these wheels, probably 300, maybe 290, I don't know. But like, if I'm really trying to maximize every mile, if I'm trying to get to a supercharger that's 240 miles away, and I'm on a full charge. That's really where it would matter, but otherwise it's not going to matter. I mean, I just, you know, might require a little bit more power. That's pretty much it. I really like the look of the wheels. The wheels look, I think this is the best Model Y factory option there is these 21-inch Uberturbine wheels. They look awesome. This car, though, being a long range, it does sit about an inch higher. The performance ones are lowered a little bit, so I don't know if I want to mess with the suspension, though. I don't really want to get a lowering kit on this. I know there's some kits out there with like coilovers that you can just lower it down an inch, inch and a half. I don't know if I really want to mess with this while it's still under like the factory bumper-to-bumper warranty, just because I've heard some people say that Tesla gives you problems if you've got those, and if I have other suspension issues, they could blame that. But so I don't think I really want to mess with the lowering the car right now. I'll kind of see how I like the look over the next little bit as I'm driving it, as I'm using it. Once the suspension kind of settles back down, after you lift it and drop it, put it back down, it does take a little bit of driving for the suspension to settle back into its ride height. But I think these are cool looking wheels. I like the concept of going a little bit wider tire front and rear on these 21-inch wheels, because it's going to give you that extra rim protection. A little wider tire, it's going to fill in the wheel well. And this thing feels planted. Like, it doesn't feel like squirmy at all. It really feels very solid. So I like the tire option. It looks really good. So guys, I'll kind of keep you updated as I kind of use this over the next little bit. I'll kind of keep track of my watt hours per mile to give you. Now, it's not going to be like an exact science, because the future driving I'm going to be doing isn't the exact same as the driving I've done in the past. So it's not going to be an exact, like, oh, you're going to lose exactly 20 watt hours per mile driven or something. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it's going to be, I'm going to lose some range. I know that. And that's why you get the long range, because we got range to spare. Anyways, guys, well, thanks for watching the video. Big shout out to EV Base for partnering with us on this video. See the link to those rim protectors in the description down below. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.